Brain-compatible teaching goes by many names, some of which you may have heard. But what does the term mean? Brains, as organs, have some commonalities in the way that they process and use information. Brain-compatible teaching uses these commonalities when making decisions about curriculum and learning environment design. The executive functions of the brain have a significant impact on learning. Executive brain functions take place in the neocortex, where the brain does its most complex processing. Executive functions include planning and organizing, reasoning, adaptive and critical thinking, multitasking, moderation of emotion, reflection, attention, and memory. As an educator, you can influence and strengthen students' executive functions through classroom atmosphere and coursework design. First, create a positive classroom environment. Stress and emotion live in the midbrain and brainstem, and when these parts of the brain are in charge, higher order processing in the neocortex is literally blocked. You teach college students, so you know that they are constantly stressed. Some stresses we cannot control, but others we can. For example, use humor in the classroom and make failure an accepted part of the learning process. These strategies help create a relaxed, safe environment that fosters the optimal learning state in the brain of relaxed alertness. You can influence emotion in the classroom in several ways, such as by fostering positive relationships with and between students and creating emotional bridges to topics before diving in, perhaps by using a story or cultural reference. Emotional bridges help students connect with material and find it personally relevant so that they are more engaged in learning. Also, allow students some kind of choice within the classroom if you don't already. Choice in how they spend class time, who they work with, or how they illustrate their learning through assignments. It will foster engagement and promote agency. I know it sounds like a lot, but try not to be overwhelmed. Pick one activity or one assignment to start with and see how it goes. Second, maximize students' ability to pay attention by catering to the brain's love of novelty. Research indicates that the brain tends to check out somewhere around the 20-minute mark. So chunk class time into 10 to 20-minute segments with short breaks in between. Changing things up frequently keeps the brain engaged and minimizes minds wandering off. Vary activities from class to class or within the class so that the brain doesn't get too used to any one routine. Use physical movement, even if just in those short breaks between chunks of class time. Have students stand up and stretch for 30 seconds, for example, or do a quick icebreaker mid-class that involves moving to a different spot in the room. The movement will help wake up students' brains. The flip side of novelty is that too much stimulus will distract the brain and prevent it from giving attention to any one thing. For example, brains have a hard time processing a spoken lecture while viewing a slideshow that contains words and images. Use visuals to reinforce words or words to reinforce visuals. Decide where you want students to focus and cut out anything extra. The brain is particularly attracted to visuals with color, movement, and contrast. Again, don't get overwhelmed if lecture is your MO or your room has fixed furniture. Try modifying plans for one class period as an experiment. Third, incorporate metacognition into coursework. Metacognition means being aware of one's learning. Metacognitive activities strengthen the executive functions of planning, organizing, reasoning, critical thinking, and reflection. Reflection assists with sense-making and internalization of learning. After completing an assignment, you might have students write about what they have learned, how they learned it, and how it fits into what they already know. Or you might have students set learning goals at the beginning of a semester and periodically reflect on their progress towards those goals. There is much more involved in brain-compatible teaching than these few things, but I hope this is enough to pique your interest and get you rolling. Feel free to contact me for further resources.